as a cucumber. So, for me, whatever. I'm just trying to not embarrass myself, really.
You're not going to embarrass yourself, and it would be fantastic if it was you two heading up in the finals. I know Ken would get a kick out of it as well, and also step up his game because there's a lot of respect there. So he comes in confident because he's good.
The first year he won, he was definitely just kind of cooking his kind of thing he always does, and that was enough to win. But when he went against Devin, you could see he really expanded his repertoire, and Ken really threw down. You could tell that he was taking that serious.
You're absolutely right. And honestly, I didn't get to taste all the items, but just by the presentation of what they looked like, I thought Devin won.
So I will tell you this: I was kind of afterwards. I went and tasted everything.
Yeah.
And the main dish was peanut butter.
Yes.
I think what happened was, because I tasted everything, the dish that was supposed to feature the beer, it didn't come through strong enough.
Okay.
I think Devin and I think from what I heard, the scores were very close.
Yes.
Like
had to have been
razor thin. Well, Deanne came up and said, "Yeah, man, that was close."
Yeah.
And then when I tasted everything, so who knows? Maybe if they would have got that beer flavor to come through, because if I was a judge, I would have knocked that dish for not representing the beer as a secret ingredient.
Yeah.
And if that's a big knock,
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. It's funny though. I did go up to Chef Ken afterwards. It's like, ooh, I thought Devin was gonna win this, and he's like, that's why you're a DJ and I'm a motherfucking chef. I'm like,
and I will tell you, there's not for Ken's food is so good.
Yes.
Like every bite is just an explosion of flavor. It really is. He knows how to. He knows how to do it. It's funny, I make chicken marsala kind of the more traditional way.
Uh-huh.
And Ken with risotto, and Ken makes it in this way that's not traditional, and he puts a little cream in the risotto you're not supposed to do. But if I make my style at home, my wife's like, "Yeah, it's okay." But sometimes she'll make me make the Dante's Fire version, making me put cream in my risotto, which is very against my upbringing.
Yeah, that's funny.
But people love it, right?
That's funny.
So yeah, it's kind of I literally I made it the other night. She's like, "I want Dante's Fire marsala," and I was like, "All right, I made it." She's like, "This is the best I've ever had."
You're like, God damn it!
I made it, but it's like
you're like, you make the ghost of my ancestors weep.
Yeah. Then you made love to her, and she's like, "Do it like Tommy Lee." Like, what? All these special requests. It's got to be a very happy wife.
Better than R. Kelly, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you give me one other chef request, I'm giving you the R. Kelly in bed for sure. And seriously, how jealous are you of that? Where his wife could literally be like, "You know what? I need you to make the dish from this restaurant. Oh no, I want you to make it like this restaurant." So that's a happy wife right there.
It is. And it's fun. I'll work on something until I do it as good or better than the restaurant we go to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then sometimes I ruin that restaurant. Literally, we won't go there anymore.
Yeah, what's a restaurant say out of town that you went to, and then your wife was like, "Hey, that was a good restaurant. Do you think you make this?" You have anything off the top of your head?
Oh yeah, I got one big time.
Yeah.
First time I went to Cat's Deli in New York.
Okay, yes, Cat's Deli, legendary.
I didn't like pastrami. I did not like pastrami because I'd only had the kind of the thin shredded, heated up on the flat top,
Right.
And it just wasn't my jam.
Yeah.
Man, I went to Cat's. Someone's like, "Hey, go to Cat's Deli." First time I went to New York, and you bite into that juicy pastrami brisket, and it's it changes your life a little bit as a chef.
Yeah.
And it's all I could think about. And I worked on it for about 2 years. And it's a process.
Right.
But yeah, until I mastered making a pastrami that I felt represented a Cat's Deli or New York Deli type pastrami.
So what do you have to do? You have to have it how long is the process?
Oh, all right.
It sounds like here.
So
we're gonna get Aries Spears on our podcast as well. Aries, welcome back, dude. Let me introduce you to my panel today, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. You remember Valdez, my big friend over here? Then we got OG streamer Manny and his chef Matt Cable, right? So we got this Iron Chef competition coming up. Chef Matt is he represents a couple great restaurants here in town, Zio Pepe being one of them. And I know that you're from New York, right? So, and I think you got your mic muted, so if you can unmute it. So he was talking about how his wife like requests certain menu items from other restaurants. So I asked him like, well, what's a restaurant that you went to out of town that you're like, oh, I got to recreate this at home? And he's talking about Cat's Deli. You been to Cat's Deli in New York?
Actually, I haven't.
Oh, it's a legendary spot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's talking about the pastrami. Like, he wasn't a pastrami fan, and it was it like changed his life. So, it took a couple years to recreate this pastrami. So, how long does it take to actually process to make it?
So
like
first you got to you start with a raw brisket, and then you got to cure it for about 3 to 5 days, depending on how big it is.
Right.
Then you rub it in coriander and cracked pepper, and you cold smoke it. And I cold smoke it for probably about 6 hours or so. And then at that point, I would refrigerate it, and then I hot smoke it.
Damn.
Until it's perfectly cooked, where I want it. Then I chill it again until it's time to actually execute it. And then I boil it to retherm it until it hits the perfect temperature. And then you basically carve it like a brisket, and it's a jet black exterior.
Jeez.
And it took a while to get the process, but that's the way I've found that really gets you that juicy. It's got the jet black bark, it's got that beautiful red in the middle, and that deep red, and then you got that juicy, fatty deliciousness coming out.
The science behind trying to figure that out, dude. Do you think Cat's Deli does it similar?
Yeah, no, I had to do some research as well. They might steam it instead of boil it,
right?
But I don't have. I messed with both. I've steamed it as well, and it comes out similar. The steaming just takes a lot longer,
right?
For my setup, because I don't have like a steamer.
Yeah.
So I have to do a kind of, ghetto setup.
How do you eat your sandwich? What do you put on it?
A mustard.
What else?
Mustard on rye. That's it.
That's all.
After
there
that
you
process,
go, attaboy.
You spend 2 weeks making the perfect meat. What are you gonna do?
And the sandwich is like, it's like 3-4 inches tall.
Yeah.
and with two less than half-inch pieces of bread. It's basically you're eating a pile of meat.
Yeah.
The bread's just so your hands don't get as dirty, I think.
Right. Yeah, so we're geeking out on some food right now, Aries. So what's like a sandwich? What's your go-to sandwich? You consider yourself a foodie of sorts?
Of course. I'm a Viking, man. I eat anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's while you're here. So like after the show, because you're coming down next weekend. So after Friday, right? Friday's show.
Yeah.
Right down the street. I want to introduce both you and Andy to. I like to take guests to different Mexican food joints in town. Right, we have some of the best Mexican food in the entire country. Right, there's a burrito spot right down the street that's inside a grocery store. That is so absolutely mind blowing that I think you'll enjoy it. So when you come next week, come hungry. Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, because and that's in the Hermosa. Carniceria, right? It's a grocery store. It's like if you're going to an Albertsons and you go up to the deli and you're like, hey, they got food at the deli. Yeah, it's edible. No, but here they make it to where it's getting so popular they keep building on tables, and every day there's a line that goes into the produce section, and nobody's there for the groceries. They're all there for the deli section, making up this incredible Mexican food. It's insane. So I'm stoked. Where are you at in the world right now?
I'm in Dania Beach, Florida.
Wow. Yeah, constantly touring every weekend and stuff. How many days do you think you stay at home? Is there what's your home base in? Are you there say Monday through Wednesday?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, every week, Monday through Wednesday.
Wow. Yeah, that's you spend more time in a hotel room than you do at your home.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, basically it's the life of a professional wrestler. That you're living, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, with that, it's also like a summer vacation as you're out there, you know, checking out all these different places, right? So, is this? Hmm.
I mean, it can be depending on where I'm at. Like anytime you're in Florida, the Keys. Yeah, that feels like a vacation. But Mississippi feels like I'm trying to escape back to the north.
Yeah. You're like, how many days
Can I go now?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, I'm waiting for somebody to sign my freedom papers.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So, but in this part of the Florida and stuff, have you been enjoying yourself? You know, obviously before your shows, like what's some of the go-to things that you do when you hit up Florida?
I like the nightlife in Florida. I don't really get a chance to do much during the day because I'm usually either doing press or just resting up.
Mm-hmm.
That 10 o'clock show,
Plus,
right?
it's so damn hot and humid out here. You
Yeah.
really don't want to be out during the day.
Yeah, I feel you. You know what it is? You know what season it is in Florida right now too? It's python hunting season. For the next like week or so. So like legally you can go out there and if you find a python, you can kill it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Is that legit?
Yeah, that's legit.
It's
Yeah,
an
those
invasive
are
species.
white activities.
Yeah.
You don't want to be Ice Cube and Anaconda? Did he live in that? Probably not. Yeah.
My friend just told me that the other day. I was telling him I was playing bike polo. And he
Black
was,
people,
shaking
we
his
wear
head.
we wear snakes. We wear snakes. We don't hunt them.
I was gonna say my Theo from Sinaloa would be happy. Is like new boots.
Yeah. Yeah, but how pimp is that though? If you're wearing like snakeskin boots and you have a backup story being like, yeah, these boots, you know, I killed this snake and made boots out of them, right?
Yeah, we that's just not in my people's culture.
Fair enough. Well, if you accidentally kill a python, just know you don't have to run. It's the season.
I got you.
So, yeah, which is good. All right, we're gonna get on the air here in about a minute. Of course, you know we have a lot that we're gonna get to, and I'm super stoked that you're, hanging out with us again this morning and stuff. We have some fun things that I want to share with you as well. And in fact, actually, today's. You know, every day is like a different, like weird, stupid national holiday, right? Today is National Tell a Joke Day.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. But I actually came across a piece from Mental Floss in National Today of like how to tell a great joke. Which, you know, obviously, it would just be hacky just to tell you, like, so we got a comedian who's literally been doing stand-up since he was a teenager, right? Put his 10,000 hours in times 2 or 3 at this point, and that makes you an expert on this craft. So if I give you these tips, you let me know how right or wrong they are on this. You think you can do that for me?
Sure.
All right, cool. Let's do that on the air here. Rock 102.1 KFMA. That was Blink-182. We're live on the podcast broadcast. Got a full house on this Friday morning. Joining us from Florida, a comedian who's going to be headlining the Rialto Theater Saturday, August 24th. Tickets available at Rialto.com. For the second time in a row, we got Aries Spears. Good morning, Ari.
Yo, what's good?
Chilling. See, look, we got a round of applause and everything. Got the whole crew. It's a party this morning. And this morning is also National Tell a Joke Day. So, real quick for radio fodder, I got the top 5 things you need to do to tell a great joke. And, you know, obviously, I'm a little hesitant and a little suspect of this list. So I want to run this by Aries Spears, who's going to be, of course, performing at the Rialto Theater, who's been doing stand-up comedian as a young man, was on a Def Comedy Jam as just a teenager, which I pulled up those pictures, by the way. I was like, that young man, it was time capsuled for sure. You had this style back then in the early 90s. You ever look back at those pictures?
Yeah, I mean, that's what was happening at the time. So, forgive me.
No, you're good. It was good. You're blending right in. All right, so here's the top 5 things that you need to do to be able to tell a great joke. And I agree or disagree, and please add on if you have any tips for this. They say tip number 1, relax. Like if you feel awkward, so will the other person and your audience. What would you have to say about that?
That's actually pretty true.
Yeah, 100%, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's got to be the biggest challenge for a lot of beginning stand-ups, right? They get up there, the nerves hit, right? And then they tighten up and they can't tell the story or the joke fluidly. Is that a word?
Fluidly.
Okay, yeah. I know that you were somewhat already like a natural when you started as a teenager, but when do you feel like you actually felt relaxed where it didn't matter? You go up on stage, you obviously have your set material, but you could riff off the top of the head and it wouldn't matter what comes your way. When did you feel like, how many hours do you feel like you had to put in before you felt that level of relaxation?
I would say 10 years in.
10 years in,
Wow.
really?
Yeah.
So now you don't have any nerves at all when you're about to hit stage, right?
Oh,
your
no, I
comfort
still
zone.
get nervous to this day. But, it's almost like if I put it in a sports analogy, it's like once I drop my first 4 or 5 jumpers, then I'm relaxed.
Yeah, okay.
After I tell my first 2 or 3 jokes, you start to set into your groove. But I'm always nervous.
Right. So basically right when you start off the set, if you're like hitting right out the gate, it's going to be a good show, right? And then if you feel like some shows like the first 1 or 2 doesn't hit, then you're like, okay, I'm going to have to work a little harder for this one.
Well,
That's
it's not necessarily whether or not the jokes hit or not to make it a good show. I mean, you got a set that works. There's nothing wrong with the jokes. But if the crowd is shitty and sucks, you can't help that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, well, what's a region where you're just like, I never want to come back here because you guys suck?
There's a few places I don't go to anymore because they're just terrible. Absolutely terrible. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Cleveland, but the pay is so damn good. I kind of have to take it.
You sound like LeBron.
They pay you to get heckled, basically.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, well, here's the second tip and how to tell a great joke. They say to set up the premise so that tell what the joke's about. Otherwise, the audience might not get it, or your joke will fall flat. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's a 1-2 punch. Set up premise. I mean, premise, punchline, premise, punchline. And part of what people don't understand, and this is why comics don't like crowds that are drunk and loud and too talkative, is because if the audience doesn't hear your setup, no matter how good your punchline is, it will fall flat. So when you have people that are, excuse me, when you have people that are loud and talkative and drunk, or who yell out in the middle of you setting up your premise, then that interruption throws everything off, because it's the audience has to hear it. And if they have to be distracted by you having to address somebody in the crowd or somebody that yells something out, then that takes them away from being able to understand the premise so that the punchline works.
Yep, I completely agree. And there's a lot of it's very rhythmic, stand-up comedy. Yeah, so it's much like music as well, Yeah,
it's almost like when I tell the crowd, and whenever I have to address somebody that's just absolutely over the top, it's almost like making love to a woman. There's a rhythm and an ebb and flow to making a woman orgasm. So if I'm trying to get my stroke game together so that I can make you laugh a la orgasm, and you yell out, it's like you are literally kicking me out the pussy while I'm doing my job.
Right. We are on the air right now, though, so I keep hitting that dump button there.
Yeah, I know. I see you reaching. I'm not gonna make you do it too much.
Yeah. Just give me enough time to reload, and we're good. Yeah. And to see Valdez, you're learning 2 things this morning.
Go.
Yeah.
Hey, Aries, did you ever have to bring a crowd back because the comic before you just totally killed it?
No, that's why you have a feature. That's why you bring a feature, because you know what they can do, and you know how strong they are, and that eliminates that.
Yeah, and his feature is Andy Steinberg, and you've been working with Andy for how many years now?
I think like 5 years now.
5 years on the road together as a feature, yeah. Wow. Which is fantastic. So at this point, the whole thing. So, and he probably knows the right kind of material to basically set you up and warm up your crowd for, right? Because he probably is very familiar with your crowd by now, right?
Yeah, and he's a Tucson native too.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, he's coming back home. So okay, time. Oh, let me ask you this. Obviously, I've heard time and time again that a lot of comedians write the joke backwards. So basically, you write the punchline and then you work on the premise and the setup. Is that how you approach your material as well, or
No,
or
that's legend. Only Dave Chappelle does that.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know no comics that write backwards.
Yeah, right. Well, and he did feature that in one of his comedy specials and stuff.
Yeah.
But I did hear that before his comedy special. So yeah, you're basically you will come across a premise or an idea and then kind of work that out and then figure out the punchline from there.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I write like bullet points in my phone in terms of what I think is funny, and then when I take it to stage, I kind of like work it out.
Yeah. Do you purposely put yourself in situations to have maybe an interaction that might make you uncomfortable or awkward so you can get different material?
No, I tend to think for me everything that's the best is organic. So
Yeah.
I don't ever try to force anything. If it happens naturally and you get natural reactions, then it's absolutely totally funny because it happened in a real moment.
Yeah, love it. All right, well, let's continue through this list. Got a couple more left. They say timing is crucial. A great comedian knows when they're going to react to a bit, what to play up, what to pause. So you know this for a fact, too. Has there been a situation where you have great material and then you just had to tell it on stage a couple times to figure out the timing and the cadence properly?
Yeah. I mean, timing is everything.
Right.
And sometimes you might see a moment where there's someone in the crowd that you want to mess with, but you as much as you want to dive on it and have that moment, you might have to let it marinate for a little bit until the timing is right. Because if you wait and do it at the right time, the impact is explosive.
Right. Yeah. And that's kind of like how you put together a set as well, right? So it's very important in where you put in between different jokes and everything else. Yeah. See, and again, there's always like a musical connection I always look at, because every musician secretly wants to be a comedian and vice versa. But there are so many similarities in, just the creation of, and each kind of joke is like a song. And then, every comedy set is basically like a set list. Musicians approach it with that kind of same mentality. All right, they say number 4, bring some drama. This may include changing your voice to emphasize certain words and using hand and body gestures to go with certain parts of the joke. So be animated. I think
That's bogus. That's bogus. Okay. Listen, there's no rules to this. There's one rule: be funny.
Right.
And how you accomplish that is totally up to you. Stephen Wright made no movements. He was deadpan. And
right?
he's considered one of the best. Before he passed away, Mitch Hedberg had that same kind of style. So yeah, there are no rules to this at all. You could be anywhere. You could be anybody from Stephen Wright to Carrot Top and do props to Jeff Dunham and be a ventriloquist to Frank Caliendo and do impressions. I mean, you Brian Regan and be totally clean. Or be whoever Louis Black and be political. Eddie Griffin and be blue. So there's just no rules to it except be funny.
Right. Yeah. Be funny. That's the first one. Everything else will follow. The fifth and final thing that they mention, and you probably will agree with this, they say tighten things up, which I think is just word economy. So like every word of a great joke matters. So either it's a story or the rhythm of the bit, so it should be tight and condensed with no extra words or information. Would you agree or disagree on that?
No, I would agree on that.
Yeah. So, I mean, sometimes the newer comedians that you probably see that like open up, they might have a good premise, they might have a good punchline, but the delivery is so long that they kind of get lost in the sauce, right?
Yeah, I mean, less is always more, but if you're going to be extensive in terms of your storytelling, the payoff has got to be worth, the juice has got to be worth the squeeze.
Yeah, I dig it. Well, thank you for running through that. So I know there's aspiring stand-up comedians listening to the show. So maybe, hopefully some of them, is Manny, learned a lesson or two. Let's keep this conversation moving on the podcast broadcast. There I can rest my finger from hitting the dump button. And be back with more right after this. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA. Excellent. All right. So say you were going to put together your own Kings of Comedy lineup with you on the bill. Who's performing on that stage with you? Past or present?
Dave Chappelle, Patrice O'Neal, and Bill Burr.
Yeah, nice. Okay. And
I've seen Bill Burr twice.
Yeah? Yeah. Always kills. He's a legend. And can you do an impersonation of all of them? I feel like you definitely can do impersonation to all three of them.
Not one of them.
You can't do a Bill Burr?
No, hell no.
I can't go that high. I get it. All right, what about this? Speaking of impressions, right? Because you're a great impressionist, and you mentioned Frank Caliendo, who you were on Mad TV with as well. He's a great impressionist. Who would be your, we'll just say Mount Rushmore of impressionists, whether stand-up or just kind of comedic actors?
I'd say Frank Caliendo, Eddie Murphy, Jay Farrow.
He's a master.
And I want to say Atheon Crockett.
Atheon Crockett.
Yeah. But there's a couple. There's this one white dude, man, who's on the internet. He's not really known. His name's Joe Godot. And when I tell you he does the best Arnold Schwarzenegger I've ever seen, it's he does Arnold Schwarzenegger like Frank does John Madden. I mean, it is just dead on.
Really? I'll pull him up here.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen a lot of guys do Arnold, myself included, but we always make it like cartoonish and a caricature. You know, like most people, you know, they emphasize that. But this dude, I mean, even when he talks, just talking, he's right in pocket.
Really? So he just emulates him perfectly.
I mean, if you close your eyes, you would. There's no way you wouldn't think that's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wow. Yeah, I'm pulling up right now. I don't even recognize the guy. He's a voice actor. Yeah, let's see. I'll do Arnold's. So that's the impression where you're just like, son of a bitch, you nailed it. Right?
Yeah.
Because Arnold is probably got to be a go-to first impression for a lot of impressionists when they're like, let's see if I could emulate somebody iconic and so unique.
Yeah, but again, everybody that does it, you know, over the top, and it's a cartoon. This guy, I mean, it's like literally if you saw Arnold Schwarzenegger on a talk show, just talking without being the guy is dead on, man.
All right, yeah, let's see. This is Arnold's Thanksgiving shopping tip. This is a Facebook reel that he created a while back. Let's hear how he sounds. Joe Godot. Right?
Oh, he's good.
Oh, so you recognize him?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Schwarzenegger would never say it, but I'll say it because I can do his voice.
Hey, well, listen. Thanksgiving time is the greatest time of the year. It's a time to give thanks and be grateful for everything we have. As a matter of fact, I want to give you a great tip. Walmart is now giving out free turkeys to everybody who can outrun security. Those fat bastards.
And now...
Nailed it. That's nice. That's nice. Hey, well, that's the Governor Schwarzenegger impression, right? So I think a lot of people's approach is like they are the Arnold Predator version impression, right? This is the mature, older, current Governor Schwarzenegger impression, and yeah, that's spot on. He's got the bass to it and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's one of your impressions that was the hardest for you to emulate, but you're proudest of once you finally got it down?
Tony Soprano.
Yeah. I think, well, you were doing your Tony last, and honestly, if you come out here and you go to Zio Pepe and you order, and they got delicious Italian food, and
but I never have to wait a lot. I go to Zio Pepe, they give me the what I got right away, especially with the sausage and the peppers and the onions. None of my guys have to wait. Chill, Christopher, Bush, even Uncle John and Dennis. Whatever I want, they give it to me right away. I like the sausage, I like the peppers, and the provolone, with a little bit of wine. It's very good for the palate.
Yes. Yeah, here's some of the menu. You just order off it, whatever you want, Tony. You know, like you got the hookup right there. Let's see. Like, I'm gonna pull up a.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The place is not like Aries. You know, Aries makes the man I got, and my kids love it, especially when I'm on age.
Don't forget about the gabagool.
What's the gabagool? Who's gonna forget about the gabagool? I was getting that. Don't ever interrupt me again. Yeah, next time you're in the trunk of the car, to beat your wing.
I was in high school when Mad TV came out, and I was all about it. And I remember later seasons watching it, and you came out in this leather Yankee jersey. And I'm like, damn, this Vato came up. Do you still have that jersey, bro?
You know what inspired me to get that actually? What's the name of that song? And I'm cool with the dude, Peter Guns. I don't know if you remember that song.
Yes.
It's Uptown, baby. Yeah,
Baby.
Peter Guns.
We go to town.
So on that video, they wore leather baseball jerseys.
And that's all you got it? How much did that cost you? How much did that set you back?
A couple grand.
Yeah.
Do you still have it?
I absolutely do. You want in yellow or one in red?
I remember them skits where you would have to play Jay-Z or somebody. That thing came out, and I was like, oh, he's using it. As a brown dude, I was like, you got to get use out of it.
Yeah.
That's not a bad investment, though, because it's leather. So, that's only going to get better with age, too. I mean, how's it looking today?
Like the 90s.
Well, sure, it feels good.
Yeah.
Like the 90s. It's a time capsule. What was the process to get on Mad TV? Did they scout you and recruit you, or you go through like an open audition and have to go through that way?
No, it was kind of like right place, right time.
Yeah.
Floating around Hollywood on different networks, having different network deals, and just happened to be at Fox at the time that the head of the studio wanted me to be a part of Fox, and they set me up and I auditioned for it, and the rest was history.
Yeah. Do you feel like, it was ended way before its time? Like,
no, it ended when it needed to end.
Yeah.
It was around for 14 years. And I think of the 14 years it was around, I would say it started to lose its steam after like year 7.
Right.
Why
is that? Why is that?
The writers changed, the talent changed. People went on to do other things, and certain writers left, and that changes things.
Right. Well, I mean, you see, like, an institution like SNL celebrating. Oh, you okay? Celebrating 50 years, right? Everyone talks about like the lulls, the peaks, and the valleys.
Yeah.
Of doing that. So you could see something. Obviously, it's the same formula. To where, you could see how it could go through a valley, but then also come back through a peak, because there's always going to be change when it comes to the writers' room and the cast and all that, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's why Saturday Night Live is still like, the bully on the block. I mean, it's been around 40 years. So, yeah, I mean, there's going to always be ebb and flows, but I don't think any show outside of SNL will ever have that kind of longevity, because it's been such an institution since the 70s. And shows just don't do that anymore.
Do you think the writers would have benefited from more cocaine on Mad TV? Because I feel like Saturday Night Live is a cocaine-propelled property, and you see that throughout the generations.
It probably was at certain points, but now I don't think it's that at all.
No, it's every 2 decades. So say 70s, super cocaine. Clean in the 80s, because anti-crack and all that stuff. 90s, cocaine again, lots of it, and different peaks. And I really think the 2010s. I'm looking at Will Ferrell. I'm like, I don't know, man. There's a couple bits and stuff that.
Nah, he's one of the cleanest dudes in the game, man.
All right. Well, all my dreams are ruined now. What are the right? Chris Kattan. So I'm gonna just keep throwing out names like that.
That one might be right.
Yeah. So if there's, are you trying to make a movie from one of your characters from Mad TV, or did I read that wrong?
No, the movie I'm trying to do has got nothing to do with anything Mad TV affiliated.
And you write the script for this movie then? The whole
I
premise?
got
and
I
all
got
that?
some guys writing it.
Nice. Okay. So yeah, you pitch it, you're outlining it, and then we're gonna try to DIY and then get some investors involved and go through that process.
Yeah.
Nice. And that's the way it is, right? In this kind of content world, you kind of like you create it and then you shop it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's part of the game. All right. Now, did you hear? I just want to share just little fun facts while I have you. So there's, Scrabble, right? Scrabble, the game. They added to the dictionary some slang words. So, like, have you ever played Scrabble and then try to kind of like cheat or just, throw in words that may not be in the Oxford dictionary but use all the time?
I've never played Scrabble ever.
Really?
No.
That surprised me because you're a wordsmith and that is your entire kind of industry, right?
I've just never played the game.
I would. Well, you know what? You should. I was gonna say you should challenge Andy, but he's Jewish, so he's probably pretty good. You could play us and win.
Andy will probably can afford to buy the win.
Well, here's some slang words here that have just been added to, so you could like legally use them in Scrabble. So if you do play Andy, you could like completely throw him off by like adding words like yeet, right? You know what yeet is, right?
Yeet?
Yeah, yeet.
No.
Oh, I gotta catch you up on the slang game. Well, you're obviously not a wrestling fan. If you're a professional wrestling fan, you'd be familiar with the word from like Jey Uso. He turned it into a full-blown catch phrase. But yes, yeet. The definition is meaning to throw. It's also used to like express excitement. Yeet. And I'm looking at my panel and like, of course, don't feel alone, dude. Nobody knows what yeet is except for this wrestling mark right here. All right, back knee. You could use back knee.
Really?
Back knee?
Gross.
Yeah, back knee. Acne on the back. Back knee. And spelled BACNE. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You never heard of back knee either?
No, I've heard of it. It was the spelling just got me off guard.
Yeah. You obviously don't date a bunch of oily chicks like I do. I'm familiar with back knee. Bougie is on the list there, so you can use
Yeah,
bougie.
we know that one.
Yeah, fancy and luxurious. Floof. Floof is slang for any furry animal, which I just think is ridiculous. I never heard that before, but. All right, welcome back to the show. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA. Hanging out here. Aries Spears is going to be hanging out and performing at the Rialto Theater on August 24th, which is a Saturday. We got an all-star panel hanging out with us this morning, which is good. Got Chef Matt Cable from Zeal Pepe is going to be part of Meet the Chef. Got OG streamer Manny, and then Valdez who just shows up, which I always have a pleasure hanging out with my boy. All right, real quick, before we talk about body count and everything on the stream, bad news for dudes who lie about their height on dating apps.
Oh.
Yeah, and look, I'm one of those dudes.
People lie on dating apps?
Yeah, right? So I always give myself a couple inches, right? You know what I mean? I'm like 6 foot on dating apps. Well, not necessarily 6 foot.
Oh, you give yourself a couple inches on height. Sorry.
All the way around. All right, I'm sure you don't really do the dating app thing, right? You just do shows and talk to people after the shows.
I do shows and pay for hookers.
Yeah, see, it makes it easy. That's an honest trade, right? Because you could tell a hooker exactly what she's gonna get, and it doesn't matter. Judgment free zone. But so basically, you can't lie on dating apps anymore because ChatGPT is making it to where women can take your pictures and then have them analyze them to tell the women how tall you actually are. So if you say you're 6'1", and they could take your pictures, run it through, and they're like, no, actually he's 5'9". And those shoes have thick soles. Like ChatGPT will out you on everything.
Damn.
Well, then we should be able to take women to pools on first dates. You know what I mean? Let me see what you really look like. Take the makeup off, take off the fake nails, take off the bra, take off the wig and the weaves. Let me see what you really look like.
No filter.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I saw one of your clips, Vlad TV. We were talking about the fake eyelashes, which was spot on.
Yeah, I mean, they just, that's such a turnoff to me. And they look so ridiculous. It's like they're BBLs for your face.
Yeah, I never even thought of it like that because I was a fan at first. But when they blink at you a little too much, you feel a little bit of wind on your face, and you can't get a little too close because then you feel it kind of like tickle you. Yeah. So you've been anti lash extensions from day one, huh?
Yeah, man. It just why do you want to put pterodactyl wings on your face? It's ridiculous.
Right? All right. Well, Aries Spears is going to be hanging out. I keep saying your name both ways. You know this. Like, I keep going, Aries, and I can't. That's my malfunctioning brain. How do you prefer people pronounce it?
The correct way, Aries.
Yeah. That's okay. Noted. So yes, Aries Spears is going to be hanging out and performing at the Rialto Theater on Saturday, August 24th at the Rialto. So make sure you check it out. Those tickets. There's a link that you can see on our social media pages and of course the rialtotheater.com. We're going to continue talking with Aries on the podcast broadcast, youtube.com/beefvegan. More after music from Buckcherry and Rock 102.1 KFMA. You're very patient though. Because I'm sure you got people butcher. Well, I'm hoping that people go back from and say Aries and Aries, and I've heard you say Aries a million times too. You just got to understand how dumb I actually am and how my brain works, or doesn't. Because I go back and forth in pronouncing it. But yeah, this happens all the time. I'm assuming, right?
Not really.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping you wouldn't say that.
Is there a sketch that you're most recognized for? Like people on the street, are like, oh yeah, I remember you from, they just remember you from Mad TV in general?
I did pretty much Mad TV in general.
Because there were so many good sketches. I remember when you were the male stripper with the
metal
Forrest
legs.
Gump. Yeah, that was good. Your Jay-Z was always on point. Like, was there any reoccurring sketch that you were just like, really, I have to do this one again?
The ones the one that was the hardest was anytime Deborah Wilson and I did Reality Check, where we played the two fat black chicks with their own talk show, because aesthetic makeup is just a nightmare. It's like 3 hours on, 3 hours off, and you got to sit in that chair, and it's a pain in the ass.
But the end result was so good. That was one of the best.
Yeah,
sketches.
I mean, yeah, but and then trying to get it off, you had to take like 5 showers. Because of the glue, the amount of glue that was stuck on your skin, So yeah, that was never fun.
Yeah, I bet, dude. What was your favorite movie to work on?
Probably Jerry Maguire.
Because that was like full blown spread. That's any movie with Tom Cruise. You think they're not going to take any shortcuts, right? So what's like the catering look on that movie?
It's pretty all the way out, I remember, but I actually, when I also did CSI Miami, like they actually had for lunch one time Philly cheesesteaks, and they flew meat in from Philly.
Damn.
So yeah, it's the bigger the budget, the better the rewards.
Yeah. People don't understand about that catering. I was thinking Jerry Maguire would be like surf and turf every day.
Yeah.
But
No, there was some steak and lobster days, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's going to be tough after you eat, like, if you're getting steak and lobster, right, and you're like, oh, I'm going to load up on this, and then have a scene immediately after and stuff. It's kind of hard to stay in that zone. You bloat yourself out or something, right?
Yeah, well, my moments in Jerry Maguire weren't that significant, so, I could go ham on the food.
Yeah. Yeah, Cuba being like, man, that looks good. But like, oh, no, it is. It is. I'm going to take another bite. You're taking your shirt off for this scene, right? Yeah, okay. I'll take your portion. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. Now, I'm sure that people always shout out like impression requests at shows, right? Do you hate that when people...
No, they don't really do that, until that's why I save it for the end.
Yeah.
I get through, the material, and then before I leave, I kind of do a request thing. So, that way they get what they paid for, or what they wanted, or what they came for.
Right. Nice. You know what we want to do next Friday? We want to put 2 wheels together, right, of celebrities you impersonate and scenarios. Just spin those 2 wheels, see what it comes up with, and then, see what you got.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a lot of fun when you come in next Friday. I'm looking forward to it, and of course, and then you're gonna be doing Phoenix the night before. So when you finish up with Florida here, which you just got there, what, last night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yesterday morning.
Yesterday morning, yeah, and then you do a show Thursday night, and then you're doing shows Friday, Saturday, and you do a show on Sunday, and then take off, or
Sunday and then go back Monday.
yeah, and then go back and that's going to LA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so at least this one is going to be a quick trip because you spend a couple days in LA, then you're going down to Phoenix. Are you going to be driving for that one, or are you going to fly in?
No, I fly out. It's about an hour flight.
Yeah, that's got to be nice, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you got to be such a pro in flying at this point.
Yeah. When you do something long enough, you figure out all the tricks.
Yeah. So what would you recommend as far as like airlines? What's your preferred airline where you're like, okay, this one's going to be smoother than, some of the other ones?
When you fly first class, they all smooth.
Okay. Yeah, well, first class. I'm like, does Southwest have first class yet? I don't think so.
First class with your leather jersey, everything's nice.
Leather on leather on leather, right?
Hey, do you still get like pre-show anxiety? Like, do you kind of like go off to yourself and just kind of like get your mind right, or are you just so into it?
Yeah. I just put my headphones in and kind of zone out on music and get ready for game time.
Right.
Do that whole 8 Mile thing where you're just like prepping.
Do you listen to music before you do your show?
Yeah.
All right. So what are you usually listening to hype you up?
There's nothing in particular. I mean, I'm all over the place. It could be anything from jazz to hip hop, R&B, maybe some hard rock. It doesn't matter.
Right. What was let me ask you this. Did you listen to Eminem's last album?
No, I didn't hear the whole album. I heard one of the songs that I liked, but I haven't heard the whole album.
Right. Yeah, because he's one of those guys that is like 50. Right. So like growing up, usually we're like rappers. They come around 40. They're like done. Like I think Too Short retired like 10 times. Like legit. So to see like rappers actually approach senior citizen status and still drop like bars and get like crazy, it's kind of insane to see it evolve and continue. I mean Jay-Z's slowing down, but he could still probably throw down if he wanted to.
Yeah, it ain't like sports. There's no wear and tear on the body. That skill set never goes anywhere. So
Right.
the demographic obviously changes, but as far as the ability to do it, that stays the same.
Right, yeah. Who's some of your favorite rappers that you've rocked of all time?
Jay-Z, Nas, Jadakiss.
So you're an East Coast kid, just through and through.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So is there anyone from the West Coast that you would fuck with that you would put up in that like category of greats?
I'm
No.
a Snoop fan, but I'm not like I am an East Coast guy.
Right.
I would say Tupac, but technically Tupac is East Coast because he's from New York.
That's the best part about Tupac is wherever you're from, you can kind of claim them, It just depends on the era. Now, I'm Juice, remember when he was Bishop in Juice? He's a New York dude. He lived in Baltimore. He's New York, The California Love song is really talking about New York, Yeah, no, that's, but okay. And then you said hard rock bands. What's some of the hard rock bands that you mess with?
I like Nirvana, Nickelback, Stained,
Yeah.
Bon Jovi.
Yeah, John Bon Jovi was just nominated for an MTV Video Music Award for Best Rock Song. This year.
He's a Jersey legend.
Yeah. Well, you got to represent Jersey. Have you been to his soup kitchen?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so nearby, and I'm from Jersey as well. But like if you don't know about this, he's kind of legendary. It's kind of like pay what you can type of restaurant that he came up with for people that were hungry. It's like the premise was beautiful in theory. I don't know if it's still running, but yeah, for people who might be strapped for cash, like come here. It's all like home cooked meals, and then whatever you can pay, we'll take. And if you can't pay, that's okay too. Yeah, that's a lot of credit there. If you were to open up a business, look, I got a million questions. If you were to open a business, be an entrepreneur outside of entertainment, what would you want to do?
I wouldn't mind owning a hotel.
Well, yeah, you live in them, so you probably would know exactly how to make the best hotel.
I don't know if that's true, but yes, that to me is a great piece of real estate.
Right. Do you ever get nervous when you're going to hotels and stuff, and do kind of like the black light, check out of the room, make sure everything's good and pristine, or?
No, I mean, there's certain hotels where you go, you make comparisons in terms of, the shower, the water pressure might be great in one, it might not be so great in another. The softness of the mattress might be great in one and not so much the other. So there's little stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that would drive me mad actually. You get so kind of used to, or you have a good weekend one that's like a fantastic bed, right? And you sleep well. And you know that you're going to be well rested. You do your shows, and then next weekend you're on a hotel and you're on like a lumpy ass bed that's kind of like the Princess and the Pea, and it just throws you off, right?
Yeah, I mean, but again, you do this long enough, you start to figure it out. So when I come to repeat cities, I kind of know which hotels to stay at.
Oh, nice. And yeah, so repeat cities as well. Do you have your go-to spots that you'll definitely hit up, like restaurants and bars and stuff?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right. So what's some of your favorite repeat cities? And then tell me a restaurant or a spot that you like to frequent when you're there.
DC. I go to a place called Mom and Pubs, which is a sandwich place. What else? Anytime I'm in, it's like Syracuse, New York, there's a place called Postabilities. Great.
Postabilities.
Pasta and Italian food. San Francisco, I forget the name of the place, but it's a great, almost like Vietnamese spot. Just to name a few.
Nice. Yeah, and well, it seems like you have a wide palette where you you like different types of foods and different types of styles from Vietnamese.
When you have a wide weight, you have a wide palette.
Yeah, well, so I don't know. Well, is wide palette a phrase? What's your favorite food? Genre of food?
I'm an Italian lover, man. I love pasta.
That's the East Coast.
Probably Italian.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why you gotta. I was trying to introduce you Matt Cable, which Chef Matt had to take off. But yes, you like Italian, and you definitely got to try out his spot. It's really good stuff. We're back here live on the air, Rock 102.1 KFMA. Aries Spears is going to be headlining at the Rialto on Saturday, August 24th. And he's going to be hanging out with us in studio next Friday with Andy Steinberg, who is from Tucson, traveling comedian. They both co-host a podcast together as well, and a hilarious podcast that you can check out wherever you stream podcasts, and constantly making reels and whatnot. When you and Andy get together for podcasts, are you riffing from your experiences on the road, or do you kind of outline it and have certain topics that you want to try to address during that podcast?
A little bit of both. We definitely have some, because we have to plan for no less than an hour.
Yeah.
So we definitely have to have some stuff on paper that we know we're going to do. And then sometimes it's just it's riffing too.
Yeah, nice. I don't know why Valdez just took off right off. He didn't like that answer there, Aries. Yes. All right. Well, let's keep going. We got a beef tip. I have to squeeze in commercials because I'm running behind time, but we're going to have more with Aries right after this, as well as a beef tip. So join us, youtube.com/beefvegan.
I got about 7 more minutes, brother.
Yeah, I'll give you. Let's do two. Let's do two, man.
Okay.
One thing. I want to play this clip here from your YouTube because you were dropping knowledge, and then somebody tried to hate, and then you're like, "Oh yeah, well here's the deal." So you responded to the haters on Instagram. You saw this? Here, I'm gonna show this.
Boy, Aries Spears here. Quick public service announcement, and I guess this is really more of a question to my black brothers with these long fingernails. I want to know why y'all don't get y'all fingernails clipped, like manicures. When you got like a couple inches on each finger of protruding fingernail, do y'all think that this is sexy to women? When you rub a woman's body down, you are scratching her. Not to mention the amount of dirt you accumulate under your nails. Why won't you brothers get manicures? That shit is the most heinous thing I've ever seen. If you're into women and foreplay, you are scratching them. Cut your Wolverines.
Cut your Wolverines, indeed, dude. The pip nails and stuff that you've been seeing. So you're dropping facts on them. What is your thoughts on women's nails? Women's nails are getting more more blade-like by the month, right? So the style continues to get sharper and longer.
Yeah, I don't like busy. I don't like loud and busy. And a lot of these chicks that, again, their fingernails look like Christmas tree ornaments. I mean, it's just different designs and stuff hanging off them. And, I like a good French tip, thick manicured nail, the more simple and the more you downplay it is sexier to me. Because the women are such beautiful creatures. It's like, let your beauty speak for itself. You don't have to do all that tattoos and big eyelashes and heavy makeup and fingernails. It's just like, if you a bad broad and you bad enough, you don't need all that.
Right. Yeah, the French manicures need to come back as well. If you I don't know if anyone is commenting on your Instagram like, hey, I'm a dude. I have those long, nasty nails, and I get all the chicks. I mean, have you heard anyone say
when I see dudes with them nails, man, and they try to slap hands with me, I do the fist bump, because they don't understand it. When you slap hands with somebody with them long nails, as they pull away, they are literally digging into your palms.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. You're going to get cut up. Yeah,
man. Listen, I get manicures and pedicures twice a month. When I don't, if I don't get a pedicure in a while, I'm looking kind of wolfish. You know what I mean? Once I get it cut up, I'm the Muhammad Ali of feet, man. Pretty.
Yeah.
And I'm some of these dudes, man. They feet look like they've been kicking 9/11 debris.
Well, on that note, Aries, we'll let you go enjoy Florida, and I look forward to next week having you in, doing the radio tour. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We'll grub, and I know Tucson's gonna show out for you to welcome Andy home, welcome you here performing for the first time, and I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us, be a part of the show. So I guarantee we're gonna have a blast next week, dude. So safe travels. And I'm going to check out your cuticles when you come in the studio, too. Be like, check out that cuticle game twice a month. Yeah, you make sure he's like, there's no hangnails, nothing. You got to step it up.
Yeah, man.
I love it, dude. Well, thanks again for hanging out, dude. We'll see you next week, all right?
No doubt. Definitely.
Right. Aries Spears, everybody, hanging out there on the podcast broadcast next Friday, chilling the whole show. And in studio, him and Andy, I know that we're going to have a blast, so we'll be ready for that and gear up for a hilarious weekend of comedy that's going to be happening with them headline Rialto.
Am I the only one when you said, oh, you listen to hard rock? And he's like, yeah, Nickelback. I'm like, wait, what?
Nickelback's technically hard rock. Technically, they just had I just watched that Nickelback documentary on, I think it was on Netflix.
And I'm technically husky, but we can all get into technicalities.
No, the Nickelback definitely falls under the category of hard rock, not metal. Hard rock and metal are two different things, right? But the thing with Nickelback, which they did this documentary, it's a 3-part documentary talking about the rise and decline and re-rise of Nickelback and why people turned on Nickelback. They still don't get it. They still don't even understand why people turned on them, and now they're kind of enjoying like a resurgence because of nostalgia, because everything that was once cool is cool again.
Why, Coach? Why did you turn on them?
Well, no.
Media told me to.
Yeah, no, I'm the media, so let me tell you why they're fucking up, and they're fucking up hard, dude. Because Chad doesn't understand that it is him. This is the reason why they're turning on him. It's his aura and the way that he comes off, and some of the shit that he says is like cringe and kind of douchey, and that's it. and I tried to explain it. I mean, the fact that they wouldn't even talk to me anyways because they saw our Nickelback post, but I was trying to make the point of being like, people would love Nickelback if Chad Kroeger had the same personality as Dave Grohl. I said it a million times. I'll say it again, and eventually Chad will, hear it from my lips to his face if they ever let me around him. But, it really comes down because there's no difference between the bands. And I had someone email me this recently, too. There's literally, musically, lyrically, no difference between both bands. They're both stadium rock bands. That's the genre, right? They make catchy rock songs. And that's it. The only difference is Dave Grohl's reputation of being the coolest man on the planet, and Chad Grohl having a very punchable face. Or Chad Grohl.
I was gonna say, there's a Chad Grohl.
No, yeah, and Chad having a very punchable face, Kroeger, and then just coming off as douchey. Even that interview with Robin Nash, he's in his pool. And just kind of lounging there, and then literally a little too arrogant. Now the dude watches the challenge, right? I like that, right? Obviously, there's a lot of things I could bro down with Chad Kroeger about, So there's reasons why I should like him, but then he gives me a lot of reasons why I should not. And I think honestly, being in the game as long as I have, and seeing, I started doing radio when Nickelback's at his peak, 2009. And nobody was hating yet. It was just rumblings of hate. And then you started seeing the snowball. But the snowball came after he was, started dating Avril Lavigne. And then he's, canceling on people. And you start hearing rumblings of him being a dick to somebody backstage and shit like that. And then when that stuff started, coming out, then the snowball and the bandwagon grew. But it really came down to bad press. And then, obviously, oversaturation. Because they were being played all over the place. But they're being played all over the place because it's testing well, right? But it was all the bad press of hey, this guy's an asshole. This guy's a dick. This guy's a douche, And then boom, boom, boom. And he's banging Avril Lavigne's fucking clone because the original one died, obviously. So, everything started, compounding. And everyone just completely just said, you know what? Fuck this band. And that's what it is. What?
I loves it. I love riling you up.
Catch your breath.
Yeah, thanks for having my back on that. I was running out of material too, and I didn't want to, keep Aries on Aries. I kept saying his name wrong. It's fucking King Douche.
It's
People are gonna turn on me too.
Like when we had the Metalachi, Kayla and Kyla, and this is I kept mixing up their names. I was like,
look, I do this all the time, and OG Streamer 1, he knows this. He's been around since day one, so I mispronounce names all the time. He doesn't know that. So he's gonna take it personally. He's gonna this fucker does not a fan. No, I am. I'm a big fan. I'm really fucking stupid, dude. I just had Catastrophe the other day, and I'm fucking I know them very well, and I'm still kind of saying things wrong, mispronouncing their names. I've known them for 15 years.
And it's funny because Powers gets mad at me because I always do racial things. I'm like, oh no. People don't do that. And right when you say, oh, Aries, do you play Scrabble? I was like, this Vato has never, ever played Scrabble. He's like, I never played Scrabble. And I was like, that's not a thing. And I was just smiling. Just my eyes and teeth are showing.
I'm just trying to get into radio content, but because there's slang. But okay, so that was
that's funny.
Dumb white guy.
It's just funny.
Asking white.
I could just hear the ghost of Powers just mocking me. I was like, no, bro. See, it worked out.
Look, so I mean, obviously,
Powers isn't dead, by the way, people. It's just figurative ghost.
It's kind of like the Chappelle show where you could say the Ask a Black Dude.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
With Rooney?
Yep.
I miss those.
I'm like, shit, black people don't play Scrabble? I got to text a couple of my friends today. Be like, real quick, pop quiz. Trey, does black people play Scrabble? No? Shit.
And I felt so bad because you had it all planned out. You're like, oh, yeah, did you know there was words they added? I'm like, this Vato's never played Scrabble.
He's like, what the fuck am I doing here right now? Goddamn Tucson. And if this show doesn't sell out, fuck this dude. You're like, the pressure is on. The pressure is on, dude. Honestly, if we don't sell this show out 3 weeks in a row, he's gonna be like, your show sucks, you suck, you're a fucking moron, and go fuck your Scrabble. You know what I mean? Aries, I'm sorry. It's Aries, motherfucker! Next Friday's gonna be fun though. Next Friday's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be lit. It'll be fun.
And Saturday should be good. But show out, please buy those tickets. I don't want to look like an
Please,
idiot.
people,
dude.
please.
Yeah, more of an idiot than I already am. All right, let's.
You know, if he really wanted the show sold out, he would give us some to give away.
Rock 1 2.1 KFMA. That's actually a good idea. And I will talk to them about that since Aries is gonna on the show 3 weeks in a row. Maybe we should be able to give out some tickets. So I'll reach out to somebody.
And you get more bang for your buck because you get to not only see Aries Spears, but Aries Spears also. It's 2 for 1.
Okay, you son of a bitch. You
he
know what?
might even play Scrabble.
Don't act like you never mispronounce anything. And
all the time.
Okay.
All the time.
I inadvertently disrespect my guests on a regular basis. This is why you guys listen to the show, and I do appreciate you. And if I meet you in person and you tell me your name, there's a good chance I'll mispronounce your name as well. I do like to thank my friends who came by the show today. Of course, OG streamer Maney, Videz, Valdez. I don't know.
We love you, Beef.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
I was like, who else is here?
Yeah. Chef Matt Cable, Zio Pepe. I'd like to thank him for coming on the show. And, of course, Aries Spears, who's headlining at the Rialto Theater. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend. We'll see you at the Black Moods on Saturday. Robin Nash is up next. Enjoy the rest of your day. Drive safe, ride safe, and as always, rock local. Later.
When you wish upon a side of beef, soon will come an end to all your grief. But if you've been mean or kind of bad, I will knock out all your teeth.